How y'all doing? But good morning, good morning. Whew. Hope y'all getting that light. Gazing out there, getting that melanin complimented. But hey, check this out. Y'all know. Y'all already know. Yes, I gotta cut my hair. Yes, y'all see the gray, but hey, we still straight though. We still part of the stars themselves. But check this out. Ooh, we all know how good that Mercedes was, right? That got those 8 championships. That McLaren. Or you see, already want to call them out, but that Mercedes got those 8 years with Louis Bate, right? With Louis Bate. That I don't know what Mercedes actually called it, but it was when their steering wheel used to, telescope in and out to control their camber or their toe. McLaren was never dominating like that. Never. And out of nowhere, they came with the out of nowhere, they came with the sauce. They came with the sauce. Piastri. I'm not downing you, bro. I'm not downing you, Oscar Piastri. I'm not downing you, my boy. But you not that, nigga. And this dad system. Well, let me get y'all straight. It seems like I'm a little bit crooked. This dad system got you looking like you, Lewis Hamilton, out there on the track. Got you looking like you out there on the track. What? Howdy. Hit that like button. Got you looking like you, Lewis Hamilton, out there on the track. And we all know you're not that guy. You're not that guy. You're not. But for whatever reason, McLaren just start dominating out of nowhere. What? It didn't even make sense. It didn't even make sense. So come to find out, neighbors, they've been using something that's just like Mercedes was using on their 8-time championship winning car. I'm about to let this video play and let y'all see what's been going on. This is crazy, but they have finally been exposed. Now, before I let this play, is the FIA, is the rules, is going to let McLaren keep this system? I don't know, because it's either the other teams adapt to what McLaren is doing, or they're going to ban it. So we're going to let this video play, and I'm going to let y'all hear it for yourself. Check it out.
The McLaren team's MCL 39 have finally been revealed at this past weekend's Canadian Grand Prix, and it is all thanks to these very sneaky photos taken of their front suspension, which finally showcases us the bare bones of the system which has enabled them to across the race weekends in 2025. Now, what exactly is it that the McLaren team have designed within their front suspension, and how does it exactly help them manage the front tires in terms of tire management and thermal degradation? That is what we will be unraveling right now. But very briefly, before we go into that, we need to just have a quick explanation of how the front suspension works and all of the moving parts within it. The front suspension on a Formula One car is of a universal design, comprising of a top wishbone, lower wishbones, and a track rod. Now, what isn't universal and changes up and down the grid is the geometries of the front suspension, as well as also something McLaren have done quite differently from the rest of the field for 2025. And that is the focus of this video, and that is the lower wishbones. Now, normally,
Donald Trump and MAGA extremists have gone too far. Now they want Natasha Johnson in Sacramento to push their radical agenda to ban books, raise prices, and gut schools. Make a change. Vote
Pointless ass
Democrat Chris
ads.
Schultz for assembly. He'll put us first.
Trump putting you first. Come on. We see what we're in, right? That voting shit means nothing.
Suspension and the lower wishbone is essentially, it is two pieces which come and join together right towards the wheel rim as it attaches into the brake carbon wheel rim itself. Now, for 2025, McLaren have kept that separate, and that is where the big impact in terms of their advantage comes from, because it allows them to do a couple of things. And this technique, or this change in terms of design, is something akin to past iterations of kind of front suspension designs that we've seen that have been outlawed. Now, one of those such things is the Mercedes DAS system, as well as their front and rear linked suspension from, I believe, around 2014. Now, with McLaren's use of two separate lower legs, this gives them a virtual steering axis. And essentially, it is all about toe in and toe out. And this affects the drag of the Formula One car, as well as the tire temperature. And what McLaren, I believe, are doing with this different lower wishbone setup is essentially changing the toe angles on the straight as well as in the corner. And this keeps their front tires in their working window that they have within the parameters they have to set it in. Now, before we go any further in with this video, if you've enjoyed the tech secrets that I've unraveled within this video, do hit the subscribe button down below, and turn driver steering wheel that activated whether they had toe in or toe out. That is essentially what this system is replicating with the turning of the steering wheel.
Same thing.
So of course,
Same exact thing.
different angles of toe for either being on the street or in the corners. And just like for the DAS, when in the corners, they are putting the toe angle more outwards. And of course, once back in the straights, the toe angle of the front tires returns to what would be, I suppose, the neutral position that they have the car set up in. So, for example, this gives them multiple advantages over their rivals throughout a race weekend, not only in qualifying, but also more importantly, and I think a bigger advantage would come in the race situations. So even when we go to high track temperature circuits or circuits around the calendar where we have a huge array of, say, high energy throughout the tracks in terms of high speed corners, where there's more pressure and kind of force and load put on the tires as a whole, both front and rear, this system enables them to keep at least the front tires and the temperature within it, within the parameters they want it at. So essentially, this means the tires are not overheating. This then, of course, has multiple knock-on effects throughout a stint, where they, as we saw last year, can go seemingly quicker at the end of a stint, which should theoretically not be true or not be what happens, because, of course, by then, tire life has gone out of the tire, so you should get progressively slower as a result. But that is in fact the total opposite of what happens with McLaren. They can seemingly get quicker and quicker. And it's all to do with this unlinked lower front wishbones of their MCR 39. Now, to kind of stay within this front suspension, let's also talk about what happened at last weekend's Canadian Grand Prix. McLaren introduced a revision